Okay, so I'm delighted to be joined by heavyweight fighter FABIO WARDLEY. FABIO, we all know what you've achieved inside the ring. We've heard the insights of your training and your life as a fighter, but now we want to get to know who you are outside of the ring, the battles and the scars you carry with you every day, the stories that will truly inspire and give fight fans the opportunity to see a side of you they haven't seen before. Today isn't about you as the fighter, it's about you as a person. You cool with that?
I'm all down for that. If anything, this is more fun than the other interviews I do.
What, when I'm genuinely asking you questions about who you're fighting next and are you interested in this fight, that kind of thing. That
yeah. And then I'll do an interview with you, and then the next person will ask me the exact same set of fucking 5 or 6 questions. So yeah, this is more fun.
Okay, well, listen, welcome. I'm pleased to have you on this podcast, and I thought you'd be a good person to kind of kick things off with, because I do feel there's a story with you that a lot of people don't know. Let's try and kind of delve into that a little bit. So, okay, so let's start very easy before we get emotional. What's your first ever memory of boxing that you can think of?
My first ever memory of boxing was my cousin's wedding. He was getting married, and then he got married, and it was afterwards. I was young, really young, and I was obviously at the wedding with him, and I was getting drunk. I was having a great time, and then afterwards, we all shot back to his, because it was Hatton Mayweather, and that was my first proper, remembering shit, this is a big one, real moment, all of my cousins and stuff wanted to watch it, everyone wanted to stay up, because at that time everyone was bang behind Ricky, he was the man. So that's my first proper memory, was that. But I got too pissed up. I think I watched maybe 2 rounds and I was a goner. I think I was about 14 maybe at the time. I was not sort of putting it, the fight was in Vegas, so it was 4 in the morning as well, so I was not the experienced drinker that I am in my older age now.
But when you're watching that, and at 14, do you have a concept or a basic understanding of what you're watching? Now you're a professional fighter, obviously, how many, 15 or whatever years after, or 14 years or whatever, 13 actually. Maths ain't great. But did you have a basic understanding of what you were watching?
Nah, at that point, no. It was just a scrap to me. I knew the story that was given to me, that Ricky Hatton was the rough, tough, get stuck into you fighter. He was our kind of great hope. And then Mayweather was the slick, trash talking, American, typical kind of that persona that you'd get from those kind of American fighters that would be portrayed to British media or British people that are watching. So that was all I thought of it. I just thought, yeah, man, back Rick, let him fucking knock this stupid American out, and then that's us, us Britain, yeah, we're gonna fucking win. I was a kid and I was just listening to my cousins, because I don't have a mad boxing family at all. No one's crazy about boxing. They just, sometimes they get behind fighters or certain people and stuff, but they don't live for it. They're not die-hard fans or anything. Well, they are nowadays, but that's more so because of me than anything else.
Do you remember the first fight you actually attended, whether it was here or abroad or wherever? Do you remember the first fight you was actually physically live at, from a kind of fan or spectator perspective?
I don't remember who was on it. It was a small hall show. I just signed with my first ever promoter, someone who wasn't particularly good for me. He was a bit dodgy, but I went to the show to meet them and meet the team and stuff, and they said, look, obviously have a ticket and watch it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't remember who was fighting. I don't really remember watching him. I'll be honest, I worked a full-time job for London, I worked a full-time job in London, and we were having our works due on that same day. So at that time, I wasn't even that bothered. I just went to go have the meeting with the guys quickly, and they were like, stay, you can watch the boxing. And I was like, yeah, of course, yeah, I'll do that. And I didn't. I wanted to shoot and get to the fucking party and get pissed up with everyone. So I watched about an hour of boxing, and I was like, boys, I've got to go. So I shot and drove, 40 minutes to some work function that we were having at Centre Parks, and then got pissed up. I met, actually, weirdly, I've got if I had my phone on me right now, I could tell you when it was. Because weirdly, I saw Conor Benn there and I took like a proper fan photo with Conor Benn, and that was like my first. That's my first like genuine hands-on boxing experience, was going to that show, and then I saw Conor Benn, and I was like, I know that person, and then I wanted to take a picture with him. But then I find that weird because now it's full circle that, one, I'm in boxing, and two, I've boxed on like cards with him, like I'm around him, like Formella and stuff. I was on that card, like it felt. I never said that to him, or I've never actually told anyone that, but I had a little moment to myself thinking, God, that's a bit mad actually. Like, I've still got that picture on my phone.
Do you know what? I'll echo from my side on those things, because obviously before I started doing what I was doing, and I'd met fighters, and I'm still a bit of a fanboy now, but when I'm saying beforehand, I'd like meet like David Hay or Carl Froch back in the day, or you were talking about Ricky Hatton now. And then when I interview these guys now, there is a little bit of, in my head, I'm thinking, oh, it's Ricky Hatton, or it's David Hay. But I've been interviewing these guys for like 10 years, so it's kind of, from my side, I know it's completely different, obviously, because you guys are professional fighters, but I kind of get that feeling of like, you know these people now, it's a different situation, but still, you refer back to those first moments.
Still a little bit of a moment where you think, I was like a fan at one point, and now, like, because it seems at them points where you are a fan of them people, or you're on the outside, like my analogy, how I'd always explain it to people is, I've gone from being to watching the TV to being in the TV kind of thing. Like, I've gone from just watching these people, watching the shows, watching like the big fights and stuff, thinking, oh mate, the O2, imagine that. Imagine, like, I remember when I first started my career thinking, like, I was doing small hall shows in like Norwich and Ipswich and like a few hundred people and stuff, and I was like watching like massive shows, and I was going, like, mate, imagine getting there. Like, imagine just making it to the O2 one day. And I really, like, in my head, that was my thought. I was like, you know what, I think, like, just one day, I think at the end, I'll pull off a big fight, I'll do something big, and I'll get that one chance to be at the O2. That'll be like my pinnacle, my like swan song, my done, and then I'll have like maybe 20 odd like small halls, and then I'll do that one big one at the O2, and then that's me ticked off in my career. I'll be happy. That'll be great. That'll be like brilliant. I'll be so good with that. And then next thing you know, a few years later, I've boxed her about 6 times. Like, it's so weird. It's so funny how it goes.
But your thought process around that will change, because, like I said, then you think to yourself, yeah, I'd love to fight at the O2, blah, blah. Now it's 6 times. Now it's like, I want to headline Wembley, or I want to be,
it changes. It's funny because you feel like when you set goals, or when you have plans, and not just boxing, but in life in general, when you're on the beginning path towards them, they seem a million miles away. And then next thing you know, if you have the right mentality towards it, you have your head down, you're focused, you move forward, you look up and you go, oh, fuck me, I'm here. Oh shit, I'm actually here. And then go, okay, cool. So if I've done that, then what can I do now then? If I've done the O2, fuck, I could do Wembley then. I'll do that next. Like, so it's just a funny one how life comes full circle sometimes.
But is that, you mentioned that about life coming full circle, and I think with anything, I think whatever you achieve in life, whatever kind of field you're in, that once you've reached that, it's a case of, if you've got drive and direction, it's a case of, right, what's next?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Because that's what I always explain to people, because people are always, I say, quote unquote, quite shocked or surprised about me, my career, my trajectory in terms of how I've come from white collar and got to where I've got to and stuff. And I just say, it's just focus. It's just commitment. It's 2 things. It's commitment and it's focus. And I literally woke up one day and I went, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to try this. I'm going to give this a go. And I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to miss the parties. I'm going to miss the birthdays. I'm going to not go out. I'm going to eat the right stuff. I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to see. Because I can live with that better than I could live with in maybe 5, 6 years, 10 years time, when I go, I could have done it, but I couldn't really be bothered to like stick to the things. I just thought, fuck it, I'll fuck it off. Like, I just think I'd rather live with trying and failing than just not trying at all. And I think that's the biggest part of not, like I say, not just boxing, but anything, is to just, if that's your thing, commit to it. Just give yourself to something and see where you end up. Because 9 times out of 10, you end up either on the mark or very fucking close.
Who was the first fighter that you remember seeing that you fell in love with as when you kind of got to, not a full team, but just when you had a basic understanding of the sport? Because I think when you first started watching boxing, I mean, listen, I still don't get it now, I'm 41, but what I'm saying is, when you start watching it, you've got aspirations to be a boxer. Who was the first person that really kind of caught your eye? And what was the reasons why that, whoever that boxer was, really kind of maybe give you some inspiration to doing where you are now?
My absolute guy was Roy Jones Jr. He was my when I, like, as I got older and I got more and more into boxing, he was my absolute go-to for everything. He was me sitting there on highlight videos on YouTube, watching them for ages, and just like I was amazed by like how he could do stuff and the way he moved and how quick he was, and like the shit he'd do with his arms behind his back, move his head, bop, bang, left hook, and you'd just be like, what the fuck? Like, this guy is... And he just seemed like 1,000 levels above of everyone there, and I was like, that's me. And if you have a look at my early fights and early career, that's a lot of... Oh, don't get me wrong, I was doing it very, very green and very novice-y, but I was trying those things and trying to like implement those things because I loved that style so much. And I'll tell you what, a compliment towards it as well, loads, was Fight Night, round 4, because he was the main guy on that, and I was just him all the time. I'd like did careers with him, like set up any fight, but I always played as like Roy Jones, just banging away on that. So that really kind of like hit it home for me.
We're chucking a little curveball here. There's no rules to this podcast. We're going to chuck in a little curveball here. So if you were to start your own fight club, fight club, right? So I'm gonna kind of define the rules of this fight club.
Yeah.
And I'm basically making it up as I'm going along, right? Like Brad Pitt style kind of, fight club, right? So if you were to start one in the ring, right? Yeah. So boxing rules. So pick me out, like you and 4 other people, and then one for the street. So
what? I don't understand the premise here. Who am I picking? People to fight with me?
Yeah, fight as part of your team.
Like a tag team, like Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
like
in the ring.
4v4.
Well, say 5v5. So you're one of them.
Okay.
I'm making this all up as we're going along, by the way. It's the best thing about it. But I want one for the street as well, because I think that it could be a different game. So let's start in the ring first. So you're basically, you and 4 other people tag team against another 5 boxers.
In the boxing ring.
In the boxing ring. Boxing rules.
Me in a ring.
Past or present?
In a ring. George Foreman. Oh. Mike Tyson. Oh. Holyfield. Who else? Them last ones are hard.
You got one more.
Who's Alan Babbage?
To be honest with you, if I was in the opposite team, I think I'd fucking go home, to be fair. Right, so that's in the boxing ring. If there was kind of a made-up... I might start this one day, by the way. Kind of a made-up, like, you can tag whoever in. So you'd have those guys in it. On the street, by the way, this is all hypothetical. We're not promoting street violence here, just so people know. But hypothetically, on the street, you and 4 other people against another team of 5. We don't know who they are. Who are you going for on the street on them rules?
Kimbo Slice.
Yeah. Good shout.
Good.
Good shout. Rest in peace, Kimbo Slice, but yeah.
I thought of that one before you even asked. I was like, Kimbo's getting straight in there with me. He's fucking lethal. John Jones, UFC.
I like you thinking outside the box with this as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking of different people to do different stuff here. I had another one.
I think that you've still put Alan Babbage in this as well.
Mate, I think in a street fight, I would have Alan Babbage. I promise you. Bruce Lee, number 3.
Wow, yeah, like it.
Who else have we got?
You got one more?
Who else? Oh, yeah, of course. There's one more. Who else?
I mean, I can think of someone I could chuck into your group already.
Throw someone in.
You're telling me in a street fight that you wouldn't have Dillian White there?
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't even think. Yeah, I'll throw him in mine as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, to be fair, in a street fight, actually, I would have him in there. Well, because I put him in my boxing one, I thought I'd leave him out. But yeah, they're my ones.
That's quite strong, to be fair.
I like that outside team. That I tell you what, that street fighting team. I want you to note that down, and when you do these, list them and see. Like, we need like to run some sort of competition because the one I picked is fucking lethal.
Yeah, and you went outside of boxing as well, which I like. So yeah, that was good. It's interesting to see because I like the comparisons between who you would have in the boxing ring, where it's boxing rules, to opposed to kind of outside of the ring in that environment. All hypothetical. I've got to keep saying this because
Hypothetical. We do not endorse violence outside of the British Boxing Board of Control rules or any other governing body.
well said, well said. Right. So I'm going to open this out as well. This is another open-ended question for a fight that you'd like to see. So that could be King Kong against Tyson Fury or whoever. It's up to you. No rules.
No rules?
No rules. A fight that you would like to see. I'm going to open it out to no rules. No specific sport.
Already.
Go on.
Dana White, Eddie Hearn. I would love
I'd pay to watch that.
I'd love it. Or Eddie Hearn, Leonard Ellaby. One of those two. But like, because obviously Ed and Dana White are alright, they're cool, they haven't got any problems. The Ellaby Hearn would be fucking good. I think that's the one
I'd go Ellaby Hearn over Ellaby and White. There's not too much.
I'd pay a lot of money to watch Ellaby Hearn, or Hearn, we'll put him first, Hearn Ellaby. He's a bigger draw. He's a bigger pay-per-view number.
I'm telling you now, from what I'm hearing about Leonard Ellaby though, Hearn would have his work cut out in that fight.
He might have the hands.
Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, let's bring it back a little bit. If you weren't in the boxing business, if you weren't in the situation and the position you're in, what do you think you'd be doing?
When I was in school, I was always very business focused. I always decided when I viewed kind of my career and my job or where I wanted to go, it always seemed like I wanted to be in a suit. I wanted to have a job. Like the things, like it was weird. Like things like having meetings and board meetings and shit like that all seemed like really interesting to me. Like stuff I really was like almost milestone-y things I wanted to do. And then I had a job in an office for a long period of time, and then it just got mundane and boring. So I think, especially now, knowing myself, I'd never be able to work for anyone anymore. I just can't do that. I live my life on my own schedule now. I'm in charge of myself, which is great, and I love that. So without boxing, I'd have to start up some sort of company, some sort of individual business, maybe even a PT, something like that, personal trainer, because I've always been into the gym, lifting weights, something like that. But whatever the job would be, it would be me managing my own time. I think I'm out of ever having to work for anyone. That would stress me out too much.
Sorry, do you ever sit there and think about kind of if boxing wasn't in your life? Do you ever? I know I've asked you a question there that you've kind of related back to what you think you would be doing, but do you ever sit there and think if boxing weren't in your life, kind of where you would be in your life? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I'd still be in the same job.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think I'd still be in the same job, still hating my life. Not hating my life, maybe that's quite dramatic, but just like sick of it. Like I worked in recruitment, consultancy, and don't get me wrong, I started the job when I came straight out of high school. I went to sixth form. I dropped out after like a few months because I couldn't be fucked with that. So I went and got an apprenticeship at a recruitment firm, and I worked there. They kept me on after my apprenticeship, and I just did that, and it was a sales job. And I've always been able to just talk, like gift of the gab kind of thing. I can just waffle, like I don't mind, like as we can fucking tell right now. Like,
I'm learning more about this now, by the way. This is more of an interesting chat because I'm getting to actually know you a little bit better from a camera side.
Yeah, like I'd always like it was a sales job, so I was just, and there was cold calls as well, hard sales. So you have to try and start a conversation with someone who wants nothing to fucking do with you. And you've got to try and find cute little ways of getting a hold of them and speaking to them and getting them to get them on side with you. So that's where I got a lot of the conversation-y stuff from. And that was the job I had, like, and I did that for years and years, and I thought that was really what I wanted to do. I loved it, but I felt like I got to a point where I was just fucking sick of it. Like, it was just on the phone, dial, do you want this job? No, bang, hang up, boom, go again. Hi, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so. Like, I've got a job over here which you might be interested in. No, boom, go again. And it was just hundreds and hundreds of that with emails, and then managers in your ear going, you haven't hit your targets yet. And I'm like, shut up, mate. Go fucking make a coffee or something. Leave me alone. I don't want to be here. It's 8 a.m. You're in my ear about interview targets on the board. Like, just like give it a rest. And that's when I kind of realised, like, this is not me, bro. Like, I can't. I'm gonna start swinging one of these people in a minute if they fucking. And I'll be honest. I've always been quite an unruly person. I've not really ever gave a shit. I'll do my own thing. I'll do it my own way. But as when I was younger, I wasn't particularly punctual either. Like, I'd barely ever turn up on time. Like, so I'm still quite good friends with some of the boys I used to work with, and like I'd always come in late. And you'd come in late through the main door, and the first person that you'd walk past would be like the director, the person that runs the company, so my manager. So I'd say work starts at 9, I'd bowl in at 9:17. He'd be like, Fab, what time do you call this? And I'd go, it's 9:17, mate. And then just walk and sit down on my seat and not say a word. And like, I was just always a bit of a dick like that. And just, I was just never in the mood. Like, if you want to be sarky, I'll be sarky with you. I don't care. Like, we can play if you want to play. Like, I don't care. So I did that for years, and I realised, like, I'm not going to survive here. Like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I know. And I know mates that do it now, and they still fucking hate it. But they do it because you get stuck in situations like that, unfortunately. You get stuck in, you got bills to pay, and it earns. And don't get me wrong, I was like 18, 19, and I was clearing like 40-odd, 50-odd grand a year just off that.
At that time, that's like equivalent of over like probably 100 grand now. Do you know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong. At 18, 19, I paid a little bit in rent. I had fuck all bills to pay, and I'll be honest. In terms of that money that I earn, I have nothing to show for it from that money. Anyways, from now obviously I've earned money different ways. But I was a kid. I was going on any holiday possible. I was going on any night out possible. I was buying anything possible. I was just spending it all. So I was doing great, and that was at that point. But I then still decided, even at that point, I had my first pro fight while I was still working a full-time job in recruitment and trying to train for the fight. So I trained at 6 in the morning, about 5:30, 6 in the morning, train, get the 7:08 train from Ipswich to London, work a full day, get back in Ipswich for about 7, be in the gym for 7:30, 7:45-ish, train till about 9:30-ish, 10-ish, go home, eat, sleep, repeat. And I did one camp like that, and I was like, this is not sustainable. I cannot do this. So even at that point of like earning all that money and trying to juggle both, I just decided, like, same thing I said before, I was like, fuck it, I'll just give it a go. So I jacked in the job. I said to the boss, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna because I was doing. Everyone knew I was doing boxing. They thought like, oh, he's just doing a bit of boxing. Like, yeah, he's just having a bit of fun with it. No one like particularly took it serious. So like, when I went to him and said, yeah, I'm leaving, and they were like, huh, what? Why? And I was like, I'm gonna do this boxing thing. Like, I'm gonna try it properly and give it a full. And they were like, you're gonna do what? You're gonna go.
You might as well have said you were going to be an astronaut.
Literally. Yeah. I might as well have gone, I'm going to go NASA, I think. I'm just going to try it out, give it a crack, see how it goes. They were like, oh, okay. Good luck with that then. Hope you do well. Like, they were like...
It's mad, isn't it? I can imagine that response.
They were, and they were like, what the fuck? But, and then I jacked in that job. I worked part-time in a gym, DW Fitness at the time, on minimum wage. So I went from earning fucking loads of money to earning like minimal money just to graft and get hold of the quote-unquote dream.
Outside of the ring, do you remember the first serious argument or fight you got into in your life? Do you remember that? Everyone remembers that. Whether you got punched in the face or not, everyone remembers the first time they got kind of either like an argument where it become nearly borderline physical, or you actually got into a scrap. The first time in your life.
I can tell you the story.
You can tell us. You can tell us on this podcast. You can tell us.
I can, because it's been expunged. So I can tell you. I was a minor at the time, so it's fine.
No, I was a minor.
I was 17. Yeah. I was 17 and I had a I was 17 and my best friend, between us we had a mutual friend and he was a bit of a weird friend, and he went round my best friend's house as we were younger kids, maybe to like play Xbox, do whatever, just chill, and he stole some money off him. So then I confronted the kid saying, look, my friend told me you stole his money. I know what you're like. I know you've done it. Give it back and we're cool. And he got all leery. And this was over like, if you remember back in the day, like MSN.
Yeah.
It was on MSN.
MSN was big back in the day.
It was on
remember.
MSN.
Yeah.
It was on MSN. So I was on MSN like, look, because I'm not, as much as like people might think like boxers want to fight all the time. I barely had any really real fights outside of the ring. I've had a few and that's it. So I was on MSN saying like, look, give the money back, cool, no problems. And he was like, nah, fuck you. You know what? When I see you, this, that, the other, I'm gonna do this, do that. I was like, no problem, cool. Weirdly, a couple of days later, I'm walking down. I've just gone into a shop to get some food. I'm walking down the street, eating this food. A bus pulls up near me, and he gets off the bus, maybe about 15 yards away from me. So I see him and I go, cool, I'm here, let's go. And he goes, oh man, not today. I've not had a good day. Like I'm not on it. Like I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've not had a good day. You said when you see me, you've seen me. I'm here. Let's go now. And he was like, no, man, we're not. No, not now. So much so that he banged back on the bus driver's door, got the bus driver to let him back in, and got off. I don't know however many stops later, so I didn't see him. So I thought, fuck it, he's run off, leave him, whatever. I go home maybe an hour or so later. I'm sat in my front room and I hear two big smashes. Now so they came in separate things. So I heard one smash. I was eating food. I heard one smash and I thought, maybe my mum's dropped a plate, a glass, something. I heard another smash and I was like, and that sounded like a different part of the room. It didn't sound like the kitchen, it sounded like a different room in the house. And for some reason, my brain completely switched and went, I don't know what the fuck that is. Someone's just smashed my fucking windows. So I got up, bolted out my front door. Now, my house at the time was on a corner and it was right next to an alleyway. So the boy had come with his dad. So I'm 17, the boy's 17. He's brought his dad, who's obviously a grown man, probably 40 odd plus, has come to my house. They've put I think beer cans or something heavy in a sock, wound it up, busted through my window, done that twice, and gassed down the alleyway. I've got out quick enough to see two people gassing down the alleyway, so I'm like, cool, game on, boom. I'm down the alleyway, chasing after both of them, and for some reason, they get to the end of the alleyway and then stop and walk normally like they didn't do anything, and I'm behind them screaming, get the fuck here now, I know what the fuck you've done, angry as. And they're just acting like nothing, and that was winding me up even more, so I was like, cool, game on. Gas for one, give him a little Jet Li fly kick, the dad, into the back, send him, he's gone over the road, got the son, fucking on the face, just boom, 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 banging him out, he's on the floor, the dad gets back up, because the son's on the floor now, so the dad's now getting back up, I've left the son on the floor, I've gone back to the dad, I've punched him a few more times as well, he's gone down. Now he's on the floor near a car and he's trying to crawl away from me under the car. So now I'm kicking him and he's hitting the car as well. And then the owner of, we ended up somehow the altercation ended up in someone's driveway. So the guys, I have a thing where I can switch really quickly back to normal. I don't have red mist. I don't get angry and just lose it. I get angry for what I need to get angry at and then I'm cool. So I do this, I'm pissed off, so I'm do this, and I'm kicking the dad into the car, and then the guy comes out of the house and is like, bro, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, shit, mate, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, I'm sorry, mate. And I start apologising to the guy. The dad's on the floor. I leave him. I turn around. His son's nowhere to be seen, by the way. His son's gone. Left his dad to get beat up. So meanwhile, while this is happening, while I'm still kicking this in, a police car was slowly coming up the road as I was kicking this in, as I just stopped to say, the guy come out of his house to say, oh shit, sorry. And then they just pulled out next to me like, what's going on here then? And I was like, oh fucking hell. So, basically I got done for beating up a boy and his dad when I was 17. But the police officer was quite chill, to be honest. He was a nice enough guy. When I explained the situation to him, I was like, look, they came to my house, they smashed my window. I'm not like about to just let that run. That's not how that works. You're not just getting away with that behaviour. That's not happening. Like, because I'm the nicest, chillest guy until you want to go too far. And if you want to go too far, I can go way further. I've got no problem with it whatsoever. So yeah, I got in trouble for that. I got some things on the old records. I had to do some community service. That was all right. Pay a fine. Got a restraining order. Like, I didn't want to go near him anyway. I wasn't fussed. I did my job. I was cool.
I mean, look, that's obviously your past, and I'm sure...
Again, I do not condone violence. I'm a reformed character. I've taken my ways into the boxing ring. I do not condone fighting outside. It was just a spur of the moment thing. And a funny thing was as well, hilarious thing. So I told you I was a recruitment consultant at the time, yeah? I was a recruitment consultant for social workers who deal with, like, I don't know what the right word is, like, not angry youths, but used to get in trouble a lot, do a lot of bad things, yeah? So part of my court order was I had to go see a social worker every other week to talk about the situation that happened and how I can't get in that situation again. So I'd go in there, even though I'd been working like a full day's work, getting people like her a job, and she's trying to tell me like, oh, you shouldn't really get in this situation. I'm like, love, I found your fucking job for you. You work here because of me. Like, what's this about? Like, she hated me, to be honest, because she used to be like, what could we do to prevent you from getting in like a situation like that again? And I'd be like, if they didn't smash my fucking window, I wouldn't go after them, would I? And we just went back and forth and just couldn't get through to me. But I did the time, did my community service. I've never committed an offence again. I'm reformed.
Glad to hear it. It's a bit of a contrast. I was going to chuck in at some point before I even asked you the question about my first encounter in any kind of fight situation where it was on like after school. You know, them situations like down on the field when it's like
we'll meet you down there at the back. We'll meet at the back of the field after school, over in the corner. Yeah.
I've got this this fella. I won't name his name because he might be an IFL fan now, so I ain't gonna name his name. But yeah, it was like I was being bullied at the time, and it's like got to a point where like it was called on for after school, and then I was getting advice from a couple of my mates. I was like, "What do you think I should do?" They're like, bro, just like hit him and run. And I was like, I'm not going to run. Just hit him and run. I'm like, we're going to be there. And I'm like, all right. So there's two of them. And then when he turned up, he's there with his whole year. And then I ended up getting a couple of digs, and then ended up being like stopped. Separated. Basically, I got battered. If you're watching it, mate, I know you're an IFL fan now, David. But yeah, I got battered basically from a couple of punches, called it a day, and then. But I turned up. Yeah. That was the point.
That's
I turned
the thing.
up.
That's all you got to do sometimes. I'll be honest. I've never been like punched up or anything. I'll be honest. I'm always the diffuser. Because I'm so large as well. When my mates and stuff are getting in situations, as soon as I get in the middle and put like my hands on a person's chest, I'm like, we're not doing this today. Like, this is not what we're doing.
Leave me alone today.
Yeah. Because it's not even me getting involved. Like, I've separated fights that aren't even nothing to do with me or between mates and stuff, just because I don't really care for that outside, like, it's just bravado, like, it's bullshit. Like, I'm not one for it. I don't do it. I always just separate him. I saved a bouncer once. He was getting battered, and he was on his back getting, like, punched in the middle of a club by a geezer. And I picked the guy up by, like, the scruff of his neck and, like, put him and lifted him, slammed him down, put him on his face like I was a bouncer. And then the bouncer came and just took him and got rid of him. And, like, I saved a bouncer one night. Like, I was just... Ultimately, I'm a peacemaker. I'm here for the peace. Yeah. Sometimes I do it with a bit of authority. But overall, I'm a peacemaker.
We're endorsing peace on this podcast.
All peace.
Yes.
All peace.
When was the last time you felt like you was facing a losing battle?
In what sense?
In whatever sense that you want to take that. When did you feel last time that there was something that this is a losing battle in whatever way. And it doesn't need to be boxing related. It could be life related. Just try and think outside the box with this question a little bit. There must have been a point over the last however long, as you're kind of maturing in your 20s, etc., that you felt that, do you know what? You might have come through it, but at some point you felt like it was a losing battle.
I know you asked to come away from boxing, but
if you want to relate it to boxing, you can.
The last time I'm a extremely happy-go-lucky, chilled, like nothing phases me, 24/7 relaxed, happy guy. And in the build-up to the Nick Webb fight, I had the worst 3 months of my entire life in the build-up to that fight. And I had so through the build-up of that fight, I had an elbow injury, which meant I couldn't jab at all. I had a back injury, which meant that some of my vertebrae were compressed and rubbing against each other, which means I could barely move. I couldn't spar at all. I didn't spar for I sparred twice that whole Nick Webb camp. So I couldn't move. So much so that I had to get a mix of a epidural and a cortisone injection just to be able to move, just to be able to get off like a sofa almost. So I was barely training, I was barely fit, I was barely just making it through. I couldn't do anything. Like the couple of times that we did spar, I was getting absolutely hammered, I was battered, like I just felt shit. And then the week before the fight, about maybe 7, 8 days before the fight, my stepdad had a stroke. And he lost like all function, like bodily function. His memory was gone. His memory was shot. He wasn't there. He wasn't him. He was gone. So like he obviously still alive, and he's recovering, and his motion skills are back, and for the most part he's back to normal. Thank God, thankfully. But at that point it was touch and go. A few days after that, my mum got COVID and was really unwell with that, and she was in a bad place. So both of because them two are like my rocks as well, my like go-tos for everything as well. So it was just such a like, and my boxing team is so close knit. They know me so well that I had to pull them and have a meeting and just explain to them everything that's going on with me and saying, look, this is happening right now, this is happening right now, this is happening right now, and I remember days of going to the gym, training, coming home, and weirdly just getting straight into bed and just laying there, and just like cuddling up in bed and just like leaving my phone like on the floor and just lay. I just needed to like lay there for an hour and just let everything just. I just wasn't me. I wasn't the right person. I wasn't all there. I was like a lot of me was missing. Everything was, I don't know how to explain it, like, everything was just hard, everything felt hard. It was just, to even wake up and be bothered to go to the gym felt hard. To even get G'd up for fight week was hard. I wasn't in the mood, I hated it. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do it, but like, I did, but I didn't. And my team came to me probably in the build up to that fight, like, once they heard about the stroke with my stepdad, and then my mum being ill as well, they were like, Fab, we need to cancel this. Like, you're fucked. You're physically fucked. You've not trained at all. You've got a lot going on mentally with your family and so. You need to pull out. And I was like, no, I need to. If I pull out, it'll be 1,000 times worse. I need to get through this. I need to make it through. And probably every other day, they were like, just pull out. It's cool. It's okay. Like, there's no shame. There's no nothing. Just pull. It's all right. You can do it. Like, we can do this another day. And I was like, no, I'm getting through. Even so much so that, on the day of the fight, I was sick. I didn't eat at all. I threw up in the morning. Something happened to me, like some sort of bug or something. I was mashed up. Like, we went to Nando's. I'm a big boy. I eat a lot. I ordered a chicken breast, chips and some broccoli. I ate maybe 2 chips, half the chicken breast, and I was done. That was all I had for the day. Like, I couldn't eat. I was throwing up. And my team came to my door to say, like, we're going over to fight camp. We've got to go over, like, get in the car, get ready for the fight. And it took me ages to come to the door, and they were like, what's wrong? I was like, oh, nothing, sorry, I was trying to sort my bags, blah, blah. But I was in the toilet being sick, throwing up. Like, I couldn't keep anything down. I was just fucking going. So I had nothing in me, no energy, no nothing. Even then, like, even in those moments, even like hours before, they were like, you can just pull out. Like, you can't, like, you don't have to do this. Like, it's okay, it'll be all right. But I just felt like if I make this through, I will be... It will give you so much more to know that, fuck it, I made this. Like, if I can get through that, I can get through fucking near on anything. Like, that was the roughest, like, down period of my life. And there's this funny moment where, like, obviously I had the fight, I won, first round knockout, good, because if it had gone any further, I'd have been fucked. And there was this funny moment where I won. I went back to the changing room and I just asked everyone to leave. And the obviously at fight camp, it wasn't even like real changing rooms. They weren't like carpeted floors and all. It was like concrete, like this weird brick thing they'd made. And I literally, for about 5 minutes, I asked everyone to leave, and I just laid on the floor, and I put I rolled my towel up and put it under my head, and just laid there on a cold floor for like 5 minutes, with just not saying nothing or not doing nothing. And I just felt like this big relief of like, like, I made it. I got through. Like, that was probably one of the most challenging sections of my life I've had to go through.
It's mad that you talk about this with a fight that you win or won, because I think when you win, I'm assuming from what people have told me, a lot of you paper over cracks because you've won the fight, etc. And it's not really a lot of the stuff when you lose fights, which you haven't experienced yet as a professional, that things get highlighted more. But when you're winning, it's like a lot of stuff where you have to use that as an excuse to why things happen. But it's crazy, and I'm sorry to hear, like I said, you going through all that, because I didn't know all that, and I was there in fight camp, but I would have had no idea that was happening with your stepdad, your mum, etc., all that going on, and you're preparing to go and risk your life in the fucking ring.
Yeah, it's a wild time, but I've had this good knack or weird focus of just tunnel vision. I've always been able to just stay focused on the immediate, just get to if I set the point and I know I need to get there, the obstacles or whatever in the way, I know I can just get there, stay focused, know the target, keep moving. And I can do all the nicey highs, pretend I'm having fun, it's great, fight camp, wall, and then I'll chip off to bed early and go sit in my room in dark and silence for fucking 2 hours because I'm contemplating my whole fucking life. Like, and it's not like I'm a depressed thing, I wanted to do anything like hurt myself or anything like that. I was just in a real down state. But I can play the whole, like, ultimately it's a job. I'm here to be in camera, and when matching do the behind the scenes, I've got to do the laughs and jokes and have fun with my team. And it's not for me to relay all my issues and leave them on everyone else as well. They're my problems. They're for me to deal with, and I'll take them and I'll carry them.
I feel like I want to expand this. I do want to kind of go on to what I want to talk about next, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm relating to you about, kind of just that side of, it's my problem. I don't need to talk about this stuff. And a lot of people will argue about that, the fact that you should be talking to people about certain situations. But I think there is a mentality, especially as men, that you think to yourself, this is my problem, I don't want to fucking bother you with it. There is that thought process in some men, and I can relate to that. So
that is a big one. It's that I don't want to bother you with it, and I don't want you to be like, oh, it's okay, like, Fab, like, mate, come here.
You don't want the sympathy.
I'm like, mate, fuck off, I'll figure it out. All right? It's shit. It's all gone wrong. We all have problems. Everything goes wrong some point in life. But this is my one. But I'll figure it out. It's okay. Because and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's how you have to be or how you should be. I'm just saying that's what works best for me, is that if I'm going through it, you'll never know unless I decide to tell you. You'll never figure it out. I could be having the worst day ever, and you'll never understand anything. Just because I believe that in a lot of circumstances, you're on your own. You have to figure that out. You can't always have, like, because if you always rely on someone to sort that problem for you, figure that for you, cuddle you there, hold your hand there, then you rely on that and it's not there, then you're in double panic mode and it's twice as bad. So it is a lot of ego as well for me to be like, no, fuck this, I'll do it on my own. Like, I don't need anyone. I'll fucking figure this out and I'll get this shit done. And that was my mentality going into the Nick Webb fight. It was like, I don't give a fuck what's going on. Like, it's not going to stop me. I'll get this done. I'll get this shit done. Like, I'll go through it. And thankfully I did, and thankfully I won.
What do you highlight and pinpoint kind of away from boxing as your everyday struggles? What when you wake up in the morning, what's a concern for you till you go to bed that night? What's your everyday kind of, even if it just pops in your head and pops back out? I'm not saying it's a struggle that affects your day-to-day life, but I'm just saying, what's your kind of struggles in your brain that occur of a day?
I don't really have too many struggles. My biggest goal and focus has always been to care for my family. And I have a lot of situations that go on. To be fair, there was two massive ones which I forgot on the back end of when I was going through all that stuff with all the stroke as well. Two of my close family members, they got arrested as well when they were away. So like I didn't have them around either at that point in time. But I became, through that process, I became the immediate focal point for about 5 or 6 of like family groups. I was the, not provider, I wasn't handing out money and stuff like that, but I was the go-to if there was a problem, if they needed something, if they needed looking after, just to check in and care for. That's probably my everyday thing, is to make sure, that's my biggest struggle, is I want to do as well as I can in my sport and in boxing, but I also want to be there as much as I can for my family, like, if they need anything, if my mum needs anything. Like, I feel so bad sometimes because I don't see my mum sometimes for like weeks on end because I'm here, there, everywhere, and she'll just call me and say, hi, I just want to check in on you, make sure you're all right, I miss you, I love you, I haven't seen you for a bit. And I'm like, I feel so fucking horrible, like. And I know I'm doing it all for her because I want her to then be happy and proud, and like her son, like, she loves it because like when, like, if I'm in the paper or when I'm on TV and shit, she's buzzing. She absolutely loves it. So that's the reason why I do these things. Same with my stepdad. He's the exact same. But I want to be able to just be there, as well as not just be Fab, my son, the boxer on TV. I want to be Fab, my son, that turns up for this function and family function, or Fab, the boxer, that came round and we all had dinner at Fab's that night because, like, thingy. That's like one of the reasons why I got this tattoo as well, which is something that everyone always asks about, why I got a random teapot on my wrist, is that it's meant to symbol family. So going through the pandemic time where obviously you couldn't see anyone, like, I'm heavily family orientated. So when we couldn't see anyone, I couldn't see anyone at all. Obviously, you're not allowed to meet, and like my nan and stuff and my aunties, and some of them have health things and you have to be careful and things like that. We, when things eased up, we started having what we'd call little tea parties where we just all get together in someone's house, everyone, my aunties, my cousins, my nans, and we just spend an hour or two together, just quickly, just to catch up. And it wouldn't be nothing special, I wouldn't do nothing mad. We'd just literally make a few cups of tea, have a drink, catch up, see everyone. But we were a family again. Everyone was back. We got to like talk about what everyone's been doing and where they've been and stuff. And that's how I've always been. Like, I've always been, I want to be able to carry it, or everything on my back. Anything my family needs, whether it is financial, whether it is like motivational, whether it's just emotional support or whatever, that's always been my main focus. But I think that's my biggest struggle every day, is that I'd find it hard to balance enough of knowing that I need to work hard for this, work hard, be in the gym every day, train, go here, train, do that opportunity over there, do that opportunity over there, but also balance, fuck me, Fab, you haven't seen your mum in 2 weeks, like, come on, mate. Like, I think that's my main struggle at the moment.
When was the last time you can remember, if you want to admit it, I don't know, you may not want to, when's the last time you had to hold back tears?
When I was when I was there, and I was on the phone, because I didn't live with my parents at the time, and when my mum called me about my stepdad, and like because she panicked, she was scared. She said he can't talk, he can't move, and I had to. And my mum's quite an emotional person, so I had to be the like puff up bravado, like no, that's fine, situation's okay, it's all good. And I bolted. I live maybe 15, 20 minutes away, so I bolted to the house, got there, saw him, and I immediately, like, my body was like I was like, hold it, because my mum was in tears, she was upset. I was like, I can't go as well, like, I can't fucking be in tears either. So that was the moment I had to be like, nah, take control of the situation. I was like, right, Mum, what you need to do is I'm going to call, like, my friend. She's a nurse. She's going to know what to do in the situation. Have you called the ambulance? Okay, you do this, Mum. Go just grab that. No. All meanwhile in my head, I want to burst into tears because I'm trying to speak to my stepdad, who's been in my life since I was 5 years old. He's been there for me since I was 5 years old, and he can't even string a sentence together. He can't, like, even talk to me. And I'm like, come on, mate, like, you're all right, like, just grip my hand, just grab my hand, you're going to be all right, like, and he's like, and he even, like, you're like,
You good to talk?
yeah, it's weird, because I've never gone over it, but he even, like, he grabbed my hand for the first time, and he was like, Fab, like, he was like, I'm scared, man, like, I'm a bit worried. And he's a big old, like, English, proper bulldog man, like, big strong man. He grabbed my hand and he was like, Fab, I'm a bit worried, mate. And I was like, nah, mate, you're good. I've got you, it's cool. We've got this figured out. I'm going to get this sorted, don't worry. Like, I've got the ambulance on the way. I know my friend who's, she's a nurse. She knows exactly what to do in this situation. We're going to get it all sorted. You're going to be all right. And like I say, thankfully he's fine. But that was, the one time where I was like, fuck. I've got to, like, hold this all together just for my mum and my family and for everyone like that.
Fucking hell, I didn't cry when my daughter was born, and now I'm fucking listening to you. Sorry. Okay. Fucking hell, I've got to hold it together now listening to you. I appreciate you sharing that. I do, because like I said to you, as long as I've known you, and I've known you for a long time, I think I met you before you had your second fight. I remember we were sat in some patio area. I can't remember where the fuck we were, but I remember we were sat there and I was introduced to you as, like, you know, the next kind of heavyweight contender, blah, blah, blah. We did an interview that day, and but there's a lot of this stuff I don't know. So I'm grateful that you're actually sharing a lot of this.
I'm a very, like, reserved person. Like we said already, I don't share my problems or run around spouting ish. I feel like we all have problems. So I feel like it's unfair of me to unload my burdens onto you as well, and you don't need to know all about my life. Like, I'm quite a private person as it is, but, like, I feel quite comfortable with you, so I'll tell you these little stories.
I'm glad you are comfortable to talk.
I think that's the first time ever in my life I've ever got emotional on camera. Ever in my life.
Well, look, I'm just going to name check here, because earlier on, and it was a bit tongue-in-cheek here, I was talking to Bella, and Bella said to me, what's the podcast about? And I was like, well, it's kind of a new thing that I'm doing, etc. But I said, like, this was generally tongue-in-cheek. I did say to her, I want to make him cry. But I said it in a kind of jesty kind of way and not knowing a lot of this stuff. And she went to me, good luck with that. Yeah. You know, that was her attitude. She went, good luck with that. And I kind of didn't think of it until obviously you said it now, but it weren't the purpose, obviously, to do that for people. You know?
I'm quite, that's what I mean. Like, I can't remember the last time I cried. I can't actually remember the last time I actually cried. I'm not that kind of person. That's why probably she said that as well, because I don't really ever show any real emotion to anything either. But especially when it comes to my family, like, that's me. They're my people forever. Like, that's the whole reason. I know it sounds cliche and like, they're the whole reason I box and live, but they are, to live and make them proud and give them an easier life. Hopefully, successfully, I'll make it really well and I can sort them out and they can just live a happy, comfy life. And that's the goal.
What's a cause that you believe that's worth? Again, this is open ended for you to interpret exactly how you want to interpret. But what do you, when you wake up in the morning, what do you look at as the key aspects of what you want to fight for? Whether it's for that day or whether it's for kind of like in your life in general. What does Fabio Wardley? What causes does Fabio Wardley believe that are worth fighting for in his life?
What do you mean? Like, what causes? Like an actual cause? Like...
Well, no, just causes in general. Like, listen, for example, for myself now, it's like I've got a new daughter, 16 months
That's
old.
your thing, yeah.
So one of my things now, apart from my missus and her kids, is my daughter. Is like I wake up in the morning and I've got new calls. I'm just giving you an example from my perspective. So if you could kind of relate it, I know some of these questions are kind of open to interpretation, but from what I'm saying to you now,
I'm with you. I get you. I guess it harps back around to that as well. Is my family, and as you mentioned into it now, it adds Bella into the mix as well. Is that I wanna these people that are close to me, that invested in me, that not just time but money, energy. They're with me when I'm in a bad mood. They're with me when I'm in a good mood. They help me G me up, get through sessions. Like I want to do it for my family. I want to make them proud. Same as Bella. Same situation. I want to do it for my coach because I know he lives and breathes boxing. It is his whole entire life. He loves it. He lives for it. His thing. And like to bring him to these events, for him to come and us to be here together, like makes his whole life. Like he's one of my best friends. So I do it for him and I do it for my team. Like Matt, the guy that owns my gym, like the gym that I train at, that he gave me the opportunity. He let me train there. And he gives me so many allowances in terms of I can train when I want. I can use the facilities whenever I want. Like I want to do it. My goal every morning is to get to a point where I can give back or feel like I've at least leveled the kind of payment to the people that have done these bits for me and put that faith in me. I feel like I owe it to them.
where would you say your kind of fighting spirit comes from? Where does it come from? Not in terms of kind of yourself, but you know how you are and that kind of moment in your life where you knew what direction you were going to take. Where does that spirit come from?
Ego, I think. If I'm being very honest with you, it's a mix between ego, arrogance, and the joy I get from proving people wrong, from people saying you can't do something or saying you're going to lose or you're not going to make it, which is a lot of stuff I got when I started out boxing. Like when I came from white collar, so many people said, mate, you're going to get found out after about 3 fights. Like you're going to get this, that's going to happen to you, and I think I live for that. I live for that I told you so moment without even having to actually say it. I can just look at someone and be like, still here, aren't I? Still going, still winning, still smashing it. Like, what can you say? Nothing. I think that's where a lot of my determination comes from in situations where I refuse to let myself fail. Like I want to make sure that I win. I put myself here. I chose to. No one picked boxing for me. No one told me I had to do it. I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm doing it for me. And I will come through on the other side.
Do you ever feel like you're fighting demons every day?
Yeah, I do actually, because it's not easy to not like go out. It's not easy to not drink. It's not easy to not eat bad food. It's not easy to go to bed on time. And every day I'm fighting demons every day when I wake up in the morning and I'm going, because same thing I say, I'm in charge of my own day. So I wake up, no one's telling me I have to go gym. My coach will say like, oh yeah, you have to go gym. But I could quite easily say to my coach, you know what, I feel a bit ill today. Maybe I'm going to come in. And they'll be like, oh, okay, fair enough, mate, I understand, no worries. Like, they're demons. I wake up every morning and I go, fuck this, man, let's just go roll over, I'll go out of bed. And then the other bits of me go, come on, let's go. We do this every morning. Let's get up now. And I'm like, no, 2 more minutes. Well, all right, I'll get up in 2 minutes. And then the other bits of me like, mate, if you're going to say 2 minutes, you might as well just stay for 2 hours. Just fucking, like, stay in bed. Like, I fight those demons with myself every day. And then, like, I'll do one session, I'll have another one to do in the evening. And I'll be like, no, the little demon in my head will be like, no, you trained pretty hard today, to be honest. I think one session's enough. Like, you're good, you'll be fine. You haven't got to do that run later. Don't worry about it, you'll be all right. And then I'll see my shoes by the front door and I'll be like, I've got to put them on. And I'm like, and then you come up with little excuses for yourself. You're like, oh, yeah, but your legs are a bit tired today, aren't they, Fab? So maybe you should have a day off. And then a bit if you goes, yeah, to be fair, maybe a day off would do. Like, you're trying to justify it to yourself. And maybe goes, yeah, maybe a day off would be all right, actually. Because then you'll be stronger tomorrow. Then you'll be fitter tomorrow. That's like, you're trying to give yourself the out. But I managed to, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. But 9 times out of 10, I managed to argue enough with myself to the point where I get there. I'll increment with myself. I'll be like, all right, cool. Just get up. Just get on your feet. Go make a drink. All right, cool. You're on your feet, so you can walk about. All right, so all right, look, just stick your shoes on. And then if you still don't want to go, don't go. All right, you got your shoes on. All right, cool. So put your bag together. Just put your bits in your bag. And then once that's done, then if you still don't want to go, don't go. Cool. Bag's done. Right, grab your keys. All right, you're out the door. Okay, so you're out the door now. Fuck me, you might as well get in the car. All right, I'm in the car. All right, cool. So you're on the way. So if you're on the way, then you're not just going to turn around halfway, are you, Fab? No, cool. So you're there. And the next thing you know, I'm at the gym. I'm on the treadmill. I'm doing it. I've done it. And I'm buzzing afterwards because I've fought through all those little mini battles just to get there. And it's not fun and games every day. Don't get me wrong. Some days I'm buzzing. Some days I want to do extra runs. Some days I want to do extra sessions. But not every day. It's not like every day, every week. Some days it's hard. So you have to fight through those. I think they're the demons I have to fight, is the ones to say, no, you don't need to go out with your mates tonight. Just chill tonight. Even though I wouldn't go out and drink, but you don't even need to just be in that environment. Just chill tonight. Just stay home.
Do you feel like everything you've achieved in your life and to date, and to be fair, you've not kind of achieved probably like the majority of what you want to achieve in your life. You're kind of still just starting out as a boxer in certain respects, even though you're like how many fights in. But do you feel like everything you've done has to come with a fight? It's like, and I don't mean that in terms of the ring. I'm on about kind of just everything around it. Does it feel like a battle, a struggle, a fight to get to kind of where you are in your life right now?
Yeah, I feel like I've clawed for everything. I don't feel like anything's been given to me. I feel like I was always on a bit of the back burner, whether it was boxing, whether it was academic, whether it was school, whether it was anything really. I always felt like I was a bit behind and I had to do more. I had to do that bit extra. I had to prove myself a bit more to just make it to that extra point where other people were, like you related to boxing. Like I started white collar, they started ABA. So in my head, that starts me 5 paces back. So I have to have them harder fights earlier to prove my point. Or I have to jump in those harder spars earlier just to prove my point. And when I go to those spars, I have to give it my absolute all. I can't be a slouch. I can't just take it easy. Because people don't know. I don't have a ABA record to look at and go, oh, actually, he is good. He just maybe had an off day. Everything, every interaction, everything I do, I have to prove my point. I have to be on point at every point.
You talk about your family and kind of the reasons why you fight and the people you fight for. You talk about your stepdad, your mother, do you know what I mean? Bella now, and all these people that you fight for, that everyone comes and watches you. But who fights for you? Like, who's got your back as far as, is it replicated? I'm assuming it is, but I want you to answer that.
They've all got my back in different ways. Like they all have me whenever they need me. Probably the person that has my back and has my back the absolute most is my coach. I could call that man at any time of the day with any situation and he would come running. And any problem, he would give me his last penny. He'd give me the last bit of food from his fridge. He'd give me the clothes off his back if I needed them. He'd do anything for me. That's like, and as much as probably like you see and other people see when we're around each other, we're like bickering, like people call us like a bickering couple because we're just at each other. We're just like taking the piss and mugging each other. But it's because we know how deep our love and like care for each other actually is. So like, I know that, and it's weird because that's an extra security in you to know that you have a type of person like that around you, that you have someone who's so just there that you know if any situation, like if I was in Manchester and my car broke down and I couldn't get back, I know he'd drive up there and come get me. He'd do 5 hours. If I called him at 11 p.m, be like, mate, I'm sorry, I need you to come. He'd be like, cool, I'm coming, I'm on the way, no problems. Like, I know he's in my corner like that for anything. I could have him there for anything I needed. If I was in there's a funny situation where the pair of us almost got into a situation where a few weeks ago, a geezer near my house pulled out a sword on us. Yeah, I know. And but then, still right there next to me. He didn't go nowhere, right there with me. And the geezer's like 10 yards away with a sword saying, come on then. And he's like, fucking come on then. Like, the pair of us are there like, I want to go, mate. So I know that geezer's just got me all the way through.
Do you know what? That's just a life lesson. When you've got people like that, and you ain't got loads of people like that, let's have it right. I think everyone in general, but I think the majority of people I know have got that one person that, look, there's 10 people here, there's 2 of us here, yeah, and what's the problem? That kind of mentality.
Yeah, 1000%. He's my guy for that, always. He always has been. And like I say, we've been this journey together for God knows how long now, but he's my coach since I first ever started, and he'll be with me all the way through.
Okay, just to wrap up, finally, and again, a lot of these questions have been open to your interpretation of how kind of ask them, so there's no right or wrong answer in this podcast. But if you were to kind of tell me what drives that fight within you, that get up and go in the morning to do what you do and how you are as a person, not just about boxing, what is that drive? What is that drive that drives you?
I feel like, it goes back to ego a bit, but I want to be remembered. I feel like a life without some sort of remembrance is a waste of a life almost. I want to be known for doing something, for accomplishments, achievements, and being somebody. And I don't mean that in the sense of being famous or being popular, or I just want to have accomplished, ticked off milestones within my life that I can, at the end of my grandkids and when I'm gone, they can go, no, like great granddad, he boxed at the O2 7 times, and like, or he brought the first ever boxing show to Portman Road at the football club in Ipswich. Like, those kind of things. That's what I live for, is those milestones to go like, yeah, he actually did something. He was here, and he did some things as well. Like, he did it his own way. He had some fun with it. He enjoyed himself. Like I do. I'm quite unorthodox in the way like I manage my camps, in terms of like, even like this, it's quite late now when we're doing this, and probably most fighters are asleep. But I'm more comfortable being like this because this is me. Like, if I was in bed anyway, I'd probably still be up as it is. So like, I want to do it my own way, but I still want to make an impact.
Well, listen, I appreciate your time tonight, and like I said, I know. And to be honest, though, this was meant to be done earlier, but you half forgot earlier.
I did forget. That's my fault. But I went to dinner, and then you messaged me, and I was like, shit. And I actually felt really
I gave you the offer of the morning as well, because I know you're fighting in 2 days as well.
I know. It's my fault. But that's why I don't mind.
No, I appreciate your time, and like I said to you, this has been good for people listening, obviously, as well, but for myself as well, because like I said, I've known you for a few years now, and we kind of do those cliche interviews where I'm literally, you can predict. If I said to you, Fabio, just put 3 questions I'm going to ask you before a fight. He's going to ask me about the opponent. He's going to ask me about future opponents. He's going to ask me about Dillian Whyte, right? Yeah, guaranteed, you know that's the way. But I think it's been good to kind of get this side of you as well, because I think, like I said, I haven't seen this side of you, to be honest with you, as much as we talk anyway, even away from kind of boxing, we talk anyway. I haven't known a lot of this stuff, so I appreciate your time.
No worries, mate. More than happy to do it for you.
All right. Anyway, thank you very much, and we'll catch you soon.
Yeah, I put my dad in the street against a heavyweight.
I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.